Hey guys, this is Boom and B, and I'll be talking about the first of two new heroes in the game, the Monkey King. At first glance, let's face it, the character design on this guy is awesome, especially once he's 6-starred. The weapon he holds looks way cooler. And of course, his stats back up the looks. He boasts the new highest power score in the game, and this is especially impressive considering he doesn't even have any stat boosts in his skills. But before we talk about his skills, I like to go over just plain base stats, as this usually gives you an idea of where the developers want this hero's strengths to be at. Like I said, the Monkey King ranks first in power, 9th in health, 21st in attack, 12th in armor, and 11th in speed. With these stats, it can be said he has basic warrior stat allocations, but excellent stat amounts. It's not that he's a tank, but he's also not a one-hit wonder. One thing I'd like to point out is that the power seems to be a number highly influenced by just health and attack stats. We see proof of this with the Monkey King, since he has the highest attack of any warrior, and warrior is a class which tends to already have high health. The Monkey King's main skill, Boundless Strike, hits the entire backline, and then applies a mark that will trigger after 2 rounds and deal a huge amount of damage. 264% of his attack to be exact, which we can assume at max stats will be enough to kill any warrior or non-warrior in the backline. The main issue with this skill is that it requires 2 rounds to trigger, and for those of us who are in a high arena, this just isn't feasible. Most fights end on the 3rd round. Basically, as soon as everyone's main skills are cast, everyone is dead. Moving on, Cudgel Mastery is a great skill. It has a Petrify effect and another mark trigger, and this just adds a bit more damage and CC to the Monkey King's overall kit. This just makes him more versatile, which is great. Fight against the Buddha is where we start to notice Monkey King's strength in PvP, or arena, and where you might even consider putting him as your frontline tank. This is a pretty reliable reflection skill and will deal more damage to everyone on the enemy team as they'll be forced to attack him. Lastly, we have Buddha Rebirth. This is where most of the Monkey King's hype came from. Like, you saw this, as soon as you saw the new heroes come out and you saw this skill, you wanted him. This hero, who has the 9th highest health in the game, will revive back with 90% of his max health when he dies. And we can assume this will increase to 100% once he's 9-starred. But there are a couple of things I'd like to talk about. This skill works really well with his main skill. You may remember that my primary concern was that the fights usually ended by round 3 and the mark would not trigger in time to be effective, but a 2 health bar warrior may compensate for that. Secondly, we aren't sure of this yet, but what if he removes all damage over time and crowd control effects when he revives? He could be a really good counter to some of the meta heroes right now. Also, does his energy carry over? Like if he's at 50% and then he dies and comes back, does he stay at 50% energy so he can cast his skill again? If anyone has the Monkey King, could you please let me know in the comments if this is true? I'd really like to know. And before we move on to the next hero, I'd like to point out that in co-op and Guild Boss, I think the Monkey King's damage is going to be crazy. There will be just so many times his mark can trigger over the course of 15 rounds. He'll be way more effective than in Arena, I think. Anyway, the Monkey King is of course one of the best heroes in the game now, and definitely stands as the most sought after Hell hero. If you have Freya though, she's still good, don't worry too much. But congrats to everyone who did get the Monkey King or who's going to get him. Thanks everyone, that's it for the Monkey King, but check out my next video on the other hero that was released alongside him, Verthandi. I think you'll be very surprised on my thoughts on her. Well, thanks for watching, Team TapTap signing off.